Billionaire's daughter pretends to be a waitress to test true love, the truth they never expected. Rain splashed against the window of the tiny diner on the edge of Brooklyn, the kind of place where the scent of coffee clung to the walls and regulars had their names etched into the cracked vinyl booths. Behind the counter stood a young woman wiping a chipped mug, her dark hair tucked into a ponytail beneath a plain cap. Her name tag read Anna, but her real name was Annalise Hartley, heiress to the Hartley fortune, daughter of billionaire philanthropist Richard Hartley, and a woman with a secret. Just weeks earlier, she had walked away from the marble halls of her father's Manhattan estate, swapping tailored designer gowns for second-hand jeans and a waitress uniform. Tired of shallow compliments and suitors who saw only her last name, Annalise wanted something real, something money couldn't buy. She had made a vow. The next man she'd let into her heart had to love her without knowing who she really was. And that's when she met Jake. Jake was the cook. Tall, soft-spoken, with calloused hands and eyes that seemed to carry stories untold. He never flirted like the others, never bragged or tried to impress. Instead, he noticed the little things, how she always gave extra whipped cream to kids, how she kept a stash of socks and granola bars for the homeless man who waited outside every morning. Jake had dreams too. A mechanic by trade, he worked nights fixing up his late father's old garage, hoping to one day reopen it in his name. What he lacked in wealth, he carried in quiet resilience and a heart big enough to lift a world. For weeks, they laughed over shared sandwiches after the diner closed, traded childhood stories, and dreamed aloud in hushed voices about lives they wished they could live. Still, Annalise held back. Every time she looked into Jake's honest eyes, guilt pressed heavier on her chest. But she had to be sure that he saw her and not the billions behind her name. Then came the storm. One bitter Tuesday, the power went out mid-shift, and word spread that a nearby shelter had flooded. Without a second thought, Jake rallied the diner crew to cook everything they had left. "We can't let it go to waste," he said. "Let's feed them." They loaded trays with burgers and fries, packed soups in thermoses, and hauled them out into the freezing rain. Annalise watched Jake lead the effort, drenched and shivering but smiling as he passed out food with kindness that asked for nothing in return. That night, something cracked inside her. She saw in Jake what her world of polished lies and hollow charm never showed her, real love. Selfless love. The kind that gave when no one was watching. The next morning, her father showed up. He burst through the diner doors like a hurricane in a business suit, flanked by bodyguards and press. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted, and Jake stood frozen behind the counter as the truth unraveled. "Annalise Hartley," a reporter barked, "why have you been hiding in a diner?" Jake looked at her, betrayal etched deep in his brow. "Annalise," he repeated, as if the word itself tasted bitter. "You lied." Her throat tightened. "Jake, I wanted to tell you." "But you didn't," he said, voice low. "You didn't trust me." "No," she said, stepping closer. "I didn't trust myself. I was afraid you'd fall for the name, not the girl who just wanted to be seen." Silence stretched thick as the world watched. Jake turned and walked away. Heartbroken, Annalise left the diner that night. She returned to her penthouse, to the world of silk sheets and golden ceilings, but none of it felt like home anymore. Weeks passed. Headlines moved on. The world forgot. But Jake hadn't. One morning, Annalise received a package on her doorstep. Inside was a note scribbled on grease-stained paper. "The garage is open again. Come by if you ever want to fix more than engines. Jake." She held the note to her chest, tears slipping down her cheeks. He hadn't closed the door, only left it unlocked. She went. The garage was small, cluttered with tools and the scent of motor oil, but to her, it was cathedral. Jake stood wiping his hands on a rag, his expression unreadable. She walked in slowly, trembling. "I'm sorry," she said. "I should have told you. I was scared you'd leave." "I did," he replied quietly. But I didn't stop caring. She nodded, eyes welling. I don't want to live behind masks anymore. Not with you. Jake stepped forward, his hands rough but warm as they met hers. Then let's start with truth, he said. No secrets. Just us. That afternoon, they fixed cars and talked for hours, not about wealth or fame, but about fears, dreams, and the people they wanted to become. In the months that followed, Annalise helped him turn the garage into a community space, offering free repairs for single moms, job training for teens, and meals for the homeless. Her wealth became a tool, not a shield. And Jake? Jake became her partner in every way that mattered. They didn't need headlines to prove their worth. They built something better, real, raw, and rooted in kindness. In the end, the girl who had everything gave it all up to find the one thing she truly needed, love that sees past the surface. And the boy with nothing showed the world that the richest hearts aren't found in bank vaults, but in those who choose compassion, even when no one's watching. Because sometimes, the truth we fear the most becomes the love we never expected, and always deserved.